Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the match preview of our game tomorrow against Bate Borisov. Of course, we won the first game 3-1 against them, so I'm expecting another very easy win against them. But you guys, before I get straight into things, if you want to help me, smash that like button, help me get more than 500 likes for today's video, and press the bell notification button if you haven't already to stay tuned to all things Blue Lions TV. Now getting straight into things, starting with the press conference, and to be honest, there's really not much to talk about in regards to the press conference. There is some team news though. Cesc Fabregas is ill. He's not going to be playing a part tomorrow, which is a bit unfortunate for him. Luiz, Rudiger, Morata and Alonso have stayed at home. They aren't going to be participating at all tomorrow, and they're not even part of the squads. And Victor Moses isn't in the squad either. And let's be serious, you guys, I've mentioned this before a while back. Looks like Moses is going to be leaving in January. From what I've been hearing, I have been hearing there's interest in China in regards to Victor Moses, so that would be interesting if that does happen, because that would mean that we would get decent money for him. So that's going to be interesting to see. Moving straight into the predicted lineup part of this video. Now, Sarri said that Hazard is going to play up to 45 to 50 minutes. So that tells me that he's most likely going to start the game tomorrow. And I see him playing alongside Giroud and Pedro up front. In midfield, Loftus is obviously going to make his return. He didn't play any minute against Crystal Palace last week, so a bit frustrating from that point of view. But again, Bate Borisov is a team that he scored a hat-trick against already. Feeling very confident. They really weren't able to cope with him whatsoever. And I don't think it's too arrogant to expect Loftus to get some more goals against Bate Borisov. But now we know that Cesc isn't going to be playing tomorrow, it does leave a very interesting dilemma in terms of who's going to be playing in that Regista role. Now, of course, Jorginho can still play there, but normally Sarri likes to rest him. You know, we've got Everton this Sunday. We barely have any resting time at all. Is there any point in using Jorginho in a game like this? You guys, you've heard my thoughts and opinions beforehand in regards to Kovacic maybe playing in that role. I personally feel that he can do a job. I've always felt that with Kovacic. He always looks better a bit deeper in that sense. Yes, he's very good, carrying the ball, switching from defense to attack and being very effective in the final third as well. But, when he was at Real Madrid, when he had guys like Modric and Kroos, he was playing in a much deeper role where he can dictate the things, he can collect the ball from the defense, and he can start the build-up of attack. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that Kovacic could be playing in that role to replace Cesc. It would be very interesting to see if that does happen. I'm hoping that's going to be the case, you guys. I've been making this point beforehand. Against teams that are going to press us high, we've seen against Derby that the team struggled quite a bit. But I think that if you've got Kova sitting deeper, being that Regista in the team, I mean, the guy's already better defensively than Cesc. There is no debating that. He wins his 50-50s. And he's really able to start those attacks. And in this predicted lineup, I have gone for Kova in this role. And I think that Kante will be playing on that right-hand side. Defense is standard, of course. Emerson, Christensen, Cahill and Zappacosta. And I'm assuming that Kepa is going to be in goal as well. Now, there's one thing I'm really hoping is going to happen tomorrow, and that's for both Ampadu and Hudson-Odoi to start. Of course, happy birthday to Hudson-Odoi. You just turned 18, so that does make things interesting in regards to the current contract situation. But if it's looking like Hazard is going to be subbed off later on, then of course Hudson-Odoi has to be the guy to replace him and play there. I mean, let's be serious. In a way, we've already qualified. Once we win tomorrow, we've basically qualified and that's it. So I'm expecting Sarri to be much more experimental with his teams in the Europa League once we have qualified. But I think it is safe to assume that Hudson-Odoi is going to get a good amount of time to show what he can do against Bate Borisov. And let's hoping finally Ampadu is going to start under Sarri. It's interesting to see how Sarri might use Ampadu. Is there a possibility that Ampadu might replace Kante later on as the game goes on and he does play in midfield? Or will Sarri use him in defence? I'm guessing the chances of Ampadu starting are very small, but I think it's more realistic to expect that, if we win that game tomorrow, Ampadu will probably start in future games. Now moving on to the tactics for tomorrow's game, starting with Bate Borisov for a bit. Bate Borisov really didn't show us anything to be worried about for tomorrow. Of course, I think it was pretty predictable in terms of how they lined up in their normal 4-3-3, which turns into a 4-1-4-1 when they're defending off the ball. But the one massive mistake that Bate made, and I'm expecting them to not really improve on this for tomorrow, is the fact that they never pressed us whatsoever. The midfielders had all the time and space they wanted to do whatever they wanted in midfield. They never pressed us high. They allowed us to play out from the back easily so we could do whatever we wanted. They weren't getting tight enough to close down our players. And it's kind of baffling as to why they wouldn't do this, if I'm being serious. I think when you're playing against teams like us, you have to adopt some pressing in your game to try and get something favourable from the game. And as I was saying in the last match preview for this game, I was saying that they're very poor when it comes to defending out wide. And honestly, it was so easy to break down Bate Borisov. All we did was create overloads in the wide areas. Normally, we'd have guys like Ruben or Kova, moving into the half space to free up the spaces down the flanks for the fullbacks to make that overlap and run. And just by doing these very simple movements, we were easily able to carve over Bate Borisov. They were constantly getting dragged out of position to try and accommodate those wide areas. And by doing that, that only created the spaces between the lines and in the half space. And this is why Loftus in particular was so impressive against Bate Borisov. It's because he had all the time and freedom to time his runs when he wanted. Anytime he ran into open spaces, he wasn't getting closed down. They were constantly everywhere. And we created so many chances. It was very easy. And I'm not expecting Bate Borisov to really surprise us with anything different tactically. Now, moving on to us, and to be honest, all we need to do is the same stuff we've already been doing. And if I'm being honest, there's not much insight I can provide to you guys in the sense that, well, we're going to play the same game we played last time and we'll most likely get the same results. But of course, there's a few things I want to say, starting with Olivier Giroud. Now, as I've been saying quite a lot, the guy really does help out the team a lot, especially with how he does bring other people into the game. But the guy needs to score a goal. Come on, Giroud. You've been getting opportunities, etc, etc. He's not really taking them. And I think that tomorrow, he really needs to get a goal against Bate Borisov because, yes, even though he does help out the team, he's a striker. He has that responsibility to, score goals and try and relieve some pressure from the team. I'm expecting Hazard to have a lot of fun tomorrow, but sometimes, and it's only very rarely, but there's sometimes where Hazard can be a bit complacent at times and maybe he plays for himself a bit too much in games like this. So it'll be interesting to see. To be honest, I'm hoping that he does get a goal or two tomorrow, so his confidence is there for the game against Everton on Sunday. And to be honest, I just want Hazard to get through that 45 minutes. Let's hope that he doesn't pick up any knocks or injuries tomorrow. In games like this, when you've got no pressures, you've got nothing to worry about, you always get this fake stuff that happens in the game, and it's like, let's hope that doesn't happen for tomorrow. When it comes to Christensen and Cahill, again, it's going to be quite easy for these guys because Bate Borisov aren't going to press us high. They're not going to try and, disrupt our passing patterns out from the back, meaning that our defenders will most likely play without a lot of pressure. And to be honest, you guys, that's all I need to say for today's match preview. Now, the score prediction I'm going for is 4-0. I think we're going to absolutely spank them tomorrow. I'm hoping that Giroud, Hazard and Loftus are going to get on the score sheet for tomorrow. And I'm hoping that we are going to keep a clean sheet for tomorrow. We have been quite complacent in that sense where, teams are creating a few chances at the end of games now. We've been lucky in the sense that we haven't been punished as much, but it's still been coming. And this always comes down to the team not pressing and not doing their job. And if we don't press as a unit, we're going to create issues for ourselves. So hopefully the team aren't going to get too complacent. To be honest, I think that, when you're a squad player, you can't really afford to take games like this complacently because, again, you're trying to show the manager why he should be looking at you for the first team. But anyway, you guys, that's going to be the end for today's match preview. Please like, comment and subscribe in the comment section below. You guys, give me your lineup for the game tomorrow. What type of players are you hoping Sarri's going to pick? Do you think someone like Hudson-Odoi or Ampadu might even get a shot first start? Who knows? Do you think guys like Hudson-Odoi or Ampadu might even start the game surprisingly? Who knows? Let me know in the comment section below. You guys, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.
Nicky La, dripping cash.